Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here with another Xbox dashboard style video. I don't always make these when there's a new feature, but if there are some major changes made to the console, I like to talk about them. And in today's video's case, there were some pretty significant changes made to the alpha preview of My Games and Apps. So this right here is currently what My Games and Apps looks like. You might think yours looks exactly the same, but there are some differences that I'll be pointing out. Now, first of all, when you look at your games, you used to have installed games and ready to install. And the number that would display here, for me, it says 531. It would actually display all of the games you had available to you instead of just 531, which is the games that I have installed. We can still sort A to Z, group by letter, sort by last used, sort by last update, or sort by size. And we still have the option of using small tiles, medium tiles, large tiles, selecting Xbox One X Enhanced, Xbox 360 games, and looking through our storage drives. However, most of the changes come after this little break, and instead of having all of these different things, we now have two new tabs, one being called Full Library and one being called Manage. Now, I'm going to actually go over the Manage tab first because I think it's a little bit easier. Inside of the Manage tab, we have updates. So any game that gets an update, if you don't have automatic updates turned on, it would go into here. Now, the one thing that I don't like about this screen in particular, you can't see it right now because I don't have any updates ready to go. I do have automatic updates turned on, but sometimes when I wake up, I'll go into My Games and Apps and I will actually have updates queued up, even though they should have downloaded automatically. And there is no button on this screen to install all updates. I've been tweeting about this for probably 2 or 3 years now. The updates screen needs a install all updates button for when there are updates there ready to go. There's also a queue tab, which obviously is for anything that is currently installing, currently being moved on your hard drives, or anything that has been kind of recently installed. So that's what you have there. Managed storage is something we didn't really see on this screen before, which is really great to have. This does shoot you to an actual system settings screen on your Xbox, so it does take you out of the My Games and Apps experience, but it will show you your internal and any externals you have here. So if you want to start deleting games, moving games, copying over external hard drives or anything like that, this is probably the screen you're going to want to do it. You can also clear local saved games and do all that if you want to save up space. We can back up and we can go to free up space. This is a setting that used to exist. It was nested very deeply in the system settings and it was very hard to see, and most people didn't even really know it existed. This is a very useful button. Unfortunately for me, there's really nothing to see here. But if you ever were to install a game, install all of the DLC, and then uninstall the game, but forget to uninstall some of the DLC packs or something, you may have a lot of leftover add-ons that you didn't even know you had. And basically, you can go to this free up space tab and find all of the things that you have installed that don't apply to all the games that you have installed. So anything on the screen, if something appears for you, you'd probably want to delete it to save some space. Additionally, we have a tab called Shrinkable Games, and it is loading. I'm going to actually cut the clip so that it loads up. Now, I've actually waited for 2 minutes in between the little edit there, and nothing is showing up on the screen for me. Maybe I could wait another 2 or 3 minutes and something would come up. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Right on cue. Recore is apparently shrinkable by 4.8 gigabytes. I don't really even know what that means or what this does, but I guess if you sit at this screen for a while, you can start shrinking down your games. Maybe it takes out some files you don't need, maybe some high quality audio files, or there's just some compression available in certain games that isn't available in other games. So apparently if you're looking to save up some space, you can do it here as well. Now in the Manage tab, we also have these 4 settings down here. Keep My Games and Apps up to date. Personally, that's something I want on. Remote installations is something I want on. I install games through my phone all the time. Network transfer, it's nothing I've ever used, even though I do have multiple Xboxes in my house. I've never wanted to transfer games through my Wi-Fi network from one Xbox to another. Network transfer allows you to do that. It's just not a setting I personally use. And then we can go to manage subscriptions. In order to not dox myself and show you my credit card details, I'm going to not show you what's on this screen. But essentially, if you have Xbox Live Gold, Game Pass, EA Access, stuff like that, you would see that in your manage subscriptions tab. Now, this overall is a great idea as these settings are very applicable to your games and apps. What is unfortunate is that when you click on these, it just takes you to the settings screen. I assume this is due to a limitation with the console that certain settings are required to be changed in your system settings. That's a little bit unfortunate. It would have been nice to change these kind of right on the fly instead of having to be brought to a separate screen or a separate tab. Now, the biggest change of all is in your full library tab, which you can see right here. Now, there are some things that don't work 100% as this is still being tested and they're still making adjustments. But in your full library, you'll have all owned games. For some reason, I had 1,800. It's showing me 1,694. So I don't really know where the extra 100 games went. I don't know if they were trials or demos or what happened to them. But here, you can click into here. And once you're in here, you can see all the games. If there's a little blue icon like on these, that means they are ready to install. If there's no icon like on 1111 Memories Retold, that means it is already installed. So you can kind of scroll through your list here and find a game you like. Most people aren't going to have this many games to scroll through, so it might look a little bit hard to use for me, but if I were to group by letter, that could speed it up. If I were to go to small tiles for myself, and then if I were to go to ready to install, I would have a list of all of the ready to install games alphabetically through small tiles for me personally. Most people only have probably 25 games or so. If you have Game Pass, you have a couple hundred. But that's kind of one of the biggest changes is you now have to toggle to find your ready to install or you're installed. And there's also these icons on certain games. We might also be able to find a game that has a special label on it. All right, so perfect. I was actually able to just find a game. Here we have The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. And you'll notice that this game has a special little label on it that says demo. So there will now be labels on certain games. I might have another one somewhere around here. But there will be labels on certain games that are either demos or trials that basically just inform you that they are not like the full version of the game. I think that's a pretty cool idea, although maybe graphically it's not the prettiest looking way to display that information. Here we also have Evolve, which says demo, since it is the beta, which I must have downloaded many, many years ago when Evolve did have a beta. So that's kind of a cool way you can see if a game is a demo or a trial. Now, it would be a lot more useful, in my opinion, if there was a way to actually, filter out and only have games that were trials or only have games that were demos. Personally, I'd want to uninstall all of my demos, and looking through game by game by game, kind of makes it a little bit more of a tedious process. But let's say we want to get rid of Evolve. We can either hide it from our list or we can manage game and add-ons and then just uninstall it from here. One thing that was interesting to me, when you go back, it kind of gets rid of all of your filters and stuff. I think that's a glitch or a bug that's not supposed to currently happen. But one thing that I am kind of missing that I don't remember, so here we can go to hide from list. There used to be a button you could press to reinstall it, find it in the Microsoft Store for more info, or to hide things, see hide things from ready to install. There used to be a button combination you could press to basically unhide everything that you had hidden. I thought it was the triggers and X. I pressed it and it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. But there used to be a way to unhide everything, and maybe that's where the 20 or 100 games difference that we were talking about is. But nonetheless, these are some of the changes you might expect to happen to my games and apps in the near future. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'm going to try to make sure that the appropriate people see the feedback in the YouTube comments. So if you could leave your impressions of what you see here. Again, things are going to change. Things are being tested. Problems are going to be fixed. But I'd love to hear some feedback. Personally, there are a lot of things I like. I know I'm not necessarily the type of person that my games and app is designed for. I have a lot more games than the average person, and I have, I uninstall and install a lot of games. I do a lot more in my games and apps than, the average probably user would probably spend time in this area of the dashboard. Personally, one thing I don't like is that it's now an extra click to find a game and you're ready to install. So if I go to my games and apps and I go in my head, I go, oh, I want to install Gears 4. My friends are going to play it tonight. Where do I find Gears 4? Okay, can I go to games? It seems like they want you to start searching for everything by using the search bar. It seems like the search bar might also be glitched right now as it's not really doing anything for me. But I'd have to go to full library, all owned games. I would have to go to ready to install. I'd have to go to group by letter. I'd have to go to G. And like some of these steps are the same, but let's just say Gears. I don't know, a couple extra steps. Seems like a little bit of extra work for me personally. There are some really cool ideas here and some really good quality of life changes, but they're not all perfect. Let me know in the YouTube comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Special thanks to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show. Shout out to Double O. Hopefully I see you soon. Peace.